Hello, and welcome to Filmsquatch, the podcast where two guys from the Deep South watch and review movies about Bigfoot. It's that simple. Each episode takes a look at a single film about a Sasquatch or a Yeti, and the guys break it down for you. Patrick and Kendall are true believers, but they're too old, too fat, and too lazy to get up off their sofas and go hunt for a Sasquatch themselves. So they just sit back and watch movies about them. Now, let's head over to the Filmsquatch screening room, where Patrick and Kendall are ready to discuss their latest film.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of Film Squatch. I'm Kendall Fontenot, and with me, as always, is Mr. Patrick Bennett. How are you doing tonight, Patrick?
Good, man. I can't wait for this movie we're going to be reviewing tonight. It's excellent.
Yeah, we've got an excellent film that we're going to be taking a look at this evening, and we have some of the cast and crew with us. And heading up that group is the writer and director of the film, Tom Chaney.
So left to right on my screen is Larry Berman. He's one of the producers. Jerry Land, he's been my longtime filmmaking partner. We've been doing this for as long as we've been alive. Andrew Ruth, another producer there. Andy Wave. And then Jack Chaney coming in from Manhattan, New York City. And as you know, you saw the movie. He's the lead in the film.
Right.
So I thought it would be fun to have everybody. The dynamic with this group is usually lots of comedy and slashes at each other. So I thought that might add to the recording.
All right,
That
great.
never happens.
There you go.
Well, great. I want to welcome you all to Film Squash, to the podcast. Thanks for being here with us. And thanks for sending us a screener of your film. We both got to watch it, and I'll tell you what, some good stuff there. I'm glad you sent it, and I'm glad to be able to interview you tonight on this podcast. So we'll get started. First, tell us, this was shot in the Michigan area?
Yeah, so the entire film was shot here in Michigan. There's a town west of us. We're near Ann Arbor. We're between Ann Arbor and Detroit, called Grand Rapids, and we found the cabin in a remote woods in a small town in Hastings, Michigan. And so that was a large part of the shoot. We also shot in the Detroit area. We did some effects work down in Ohio because that's where our effects guys were. So we did some green screen work with Squatch there, but primarily 99% Michigan.
I want to ask you, is there really a Maple Bluff, or is that a fictional town?
There is actually not a Maple Bluff. It is a fictional town.
Okay. You did a very good job at that town with the signage and everything with the Maple Bluff.
Larry did
I
all the
believe
signage.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, can you tell us a little bit? I know you don't want to give spoilers away, but a little synopsis of this film.
Yeah, so, from the very beginning, we wanted to make a film about people. And we felt like, and I hate to use it because it's the best movie ever made, but like Jaws, you really care about the characters in Jaws. And so when they go on that adventure, you're really a part of it, and you really feel for them, and you really feel for every bite that the shark takes out of them. And so from the conception of the movie, we wanted to make a people movie with a Bigfoot. And so our story tells the tale of Nick Peters, who is just lives with his mother, trying to raise money to go to college. His father left him almost 20 years ago, and all of a sudden, out of the blue at work, he gets a call, and he's got an inheritance from his father. Well, he really doesn't want anything to do with that, but after being talked through and encouraged by both his mother and a potential love interest, he decides to go up and see what this is all about. So he heads up to the remote cabin in the woods up north that his father has left him, and the fun ensues.
All right.
Which, anything you guys would add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. I want to ask you though, what made you decide, you guys, to make a Bigfoot movie?
It's always been something in the back of my mind that I wanted to do. This is my third or fourth movie as a director, and I almost wish I would have done it first, but I felt like the timing was really good to actually do it. And the reason that I thought that was I was up north actually on a vacation with my family, and Max Brooks' new book came out. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with that, Devolution. And Max Brooks wrote World War Z, which became a big film with Brad Pitt. And when I saw that he actually had published a novel about Bigfoots and Squatches, I thought, maybe people are starting to take this serious. I mean, it's fun. Every souvenir shop you go to, there's a Bigfoot shirt, there's Bigfoot toys, et cetera, et cetera. And I just thought, okay, it might be the time to do this. And that's when I really started to think about it.
You almost can't get away from it in Michigan. I mean, it's on bumper stickers and winch, it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's worse in Tennessee. You
Is it?
can't go one block in Tennessee without Bigfoot stuff. And they devote gigantic sections in all the novelty stores, like 4 or 5 rows of Bigfoot stuff. It's crazy.
And we're seeing that. I mean, we're seeing, as you know, the film is not out yet for a wide release, but as we're showing the film here and there, we showed it at a drive-in up north, and I think that's how you guys found us. Their post kind of exploded. Just the love for Squatch and Bigfoot stories is enormous. I mean, everybody loves the lore. Everybody loves to, think that when they're out in the woods camping and that sound might be a Squatch or that thing moving through the woods. And we just decided to give it a shot.
Speaking of that sound, there are a lot of howls and a lot of other noises in this film. I want to know the howls that you used. Were any of them from suspected Bigfoot recordings, or were they all generated? Because it sounded, one of them kind of reminded me of the Ohio howl.
So,
just curious.
No, that's a great question. And actually, we met, and as you know, Jim Sherman, Bigfoot member of the BFRO, is in our movie briefly at the end, and we met with him. He gave me all of his recordings. He's very famous for his recordings. So I sent those to the sound mixer in LA. He cleaned all of those up, and we used them in the film.
Okay.
Now, that said, there are also other noises in the film that are he created, the sound mixer created. One of the things that he found and used quite often was a Tasmanian devil. And he saw some documentary on Tasmanian devils, and then he just dove into the sound archives out in LA, and he found these Tasmanian devil recordings, and so he used those as well. But yeah, many, many, many of the sounds are actually Jim Sherman's recorded sounds.
And I also want to say, as a former den leader, I took the opening sequence personal. I've been on Camp House with a bunch of kids before.
Yeah, yeah. So have we. Jack actually is an Eagle Scout, and so we love the Scouts, and we thought that was a fun Spielbergian opening. And Larry actually played the Scout leader.
Yep, I recognize him there. I feel your pain, Larry.
Hey, trust me, when we filmed, not the scene with the fire and all that, but when I was getting dragged off into the woods, we originally filmed it. It was 80 degrees and it was perfect out, and I had a stunt double, and then Tom's brilliant idea, he wanted the real me to do it. So then it was 32 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds and drizzle, and I'm out there in shorts and socks refilming that effing scene for Tom.
And it works.
Yeah, it worked great.
It works.
Well, I want to say y'all had a great cast of actors in the film, not just the main cast, but the supporting cast. They were just as good, you know. A lot of independent films, you don't find that, you know. So where did you go about finding your actors? Were they all from the Michigan area, or did you fly people in from New York or LA? Where did you find them?
Well, actually, we flew Jack in from New York, and the female lead, we actually did a number of auditions here locally in the Michigan area. We worked with a talent agency and lined up, I don't know, by the time we narrowed it down, 4 or 5 different women, and we had Jack come in and then he read with them. Because as you know, you can have an individual read of an actor, but it's the dichotomy, it's the way that they work together. And
Right.
so we had Jack reading the lines with the 3 or 4 different women that we wanted to actually film and audition. And Paige stood out. Just her energy and her spirit. And it was actually not a hard decision once we saw her read. And then Cassandra, who plays the mom, Jack and I had shot a movie, another Michigan independent film here. We're cinematographers, and we worked with Cassandra Schomer. And Cassandra is actually down in Indiana. She's been acting since she's been 12. Does a lot of TV commercials, industrials, and films. And funny story there, I called her and I said, "Hey, Cassandra, you know, we're putting together another movie. What do you think? Would you like to be in it?" And she's like, "Oh my God, are you kidding? Of course. What is it about?" And I said, "Bigfoot." And she said, "Bigfoot?" And I said, look, just give the script a chance. So I sent her the script and she read it and she was like, "Tom, this is so much fun. I'm in." The 3 of them together just hit it off. It was never, I mean, they would be off rehearsing, running through the scene and just working it out. Then we would be setting up the lights and the camera, and they would come in and just nail it. And it was a perfect cast. It really was. It just worked so well. Sometimes, you know, we would be shooting and I would say, "Wasn't there a line that," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we got rid of that. It didn't work." And and as a director, I like to let that happen because they've owned the characters. And if they felt that something was out of place or they changed something slightly, I'm in for that because it just added to the scene. But thank you for that about the cast. That was one of the things that we really wanted. Again, making a movie about people, it was important that they nailed it because I've made many movies with bad actors, and that can take you out of the movie. So,
Right. I think yours is going to stand out among other, you know, independent, low budget Bigfoot movies just because of your acting. I think y'all nailed it across the board.
well, thank you very much.
Good to hear.
Yeah, that means a lot to us. I mean, you really are. Once I listen to your podcast, even though we're not coming out yet, we're just doing some local screenings and another screening up north. But I really wanted to be this to be the first thing that we did. I'm doing another one tomorrow night, but you guys are the first, so thank you.
Cool. I like you're talking about Paige. I like the way that character was written. Usually in a Bigfoot movie, if you have a guy and a girl, you know, the guy's the believer and the girl's the skeptic, and this is kind of like flip flop, and it worked. It worked well for the story, and she brought that energy to that character. I like that.
Yeah, she really did nail it. And yeah, Jack certainly played the skeptic. And if there's anybody here that is a skeptic, it might be Jack.
So let's talk a little bit about the cinematography. That's something else you pretty much nailed. The quality of the, you know, the viewing quality. It looked clear and crisp, and the lighting was great. The colors were great. What did you use to shoot it? Was it like a red camera or black magic or something high end?
Ironically, we did shoot our last movie with Reds. We own Reds, but we went with the Sony FX3
Ah,
and that family of cameras because they have an incredible low light capability. And they, and not to get too technical, but they have 2 ISOs. One is like a daylight ISO, so very sharp and good for daylight, but they also have an ISO that's very high, 12,800. And somehow through magic, Sony, their sensors allow us to shoot with very little light. Like we would be shooting and I would be double and triple checking Jerry, and I would be checking. It's like, there's no way this is going to expose. And it was beautiful. So we used the FX3, and a lot of it, most of it was handheld, and we used gimbals. And I have to say, our gaffer, Alex Regola, she and I and Jack have worked on another movie together, and we kind of have a mind meld, and just we work together really well. I start to say something, or Jack says something, and she just nails it. And so the look is really the, 3 or 4 people adding to that.
Yeah, it's really sharp. I also like the use of drones, like for some, flyovers. Beautiful, beautiful scenery.
Yeah, that was Richard Cates. He was on the production. He's a local guy. He does a lot of Chevy commercials, drone work there. And we had Richard on for the entire production, and he nailed the drone work. I mean, there's so many other great shots that we just couldn't fit into the movie, but he really nailed it. I like the shot where we're heading up to the cabin for the first time, and Richard just followed the car the entire way up to the cabin, and then did this lift right at the end as they get out of the vehicle. That's an amazing shot.
And he stayed out of the trees.
Go ahead.
I said he stayed out of the trees when Tom and I were filming a long time ago, like a teaser. Tom was up in the trees with his drone.
I'm not a drone pilot like Richard or Jack.
We watch a lot of Bigfoot movies, and the ones that you don't see Bigfoot through the whole movie, and then you have to wait till the very end to get a glimpse of him, that's always lets me down. But yours was packed. I mean, you had from the beginning and in the middle and all through the end, you were full of Bigfoot. I like that. That was really good.
Well, thanks. How did you like Bigfoot?
Yeah, he was cool. He looked mean. Incredibly.
He reminded
mean.
me
He was
of
angry.
He reminded me of Rob Zombie.
Oh, okay.
I saw some definite Rob Zombie inspiration in that Bigfoot. Yeah, I liked him. I thought he looked great.
Yeah, so we went down to Ohio early, and we met with David Greathouse. And David, from the beginning, without even talking about how much money it was good, he was like, Tom, if you guys are doing a Bigfoot movie, I'm doing your Bigfoot. And I don't know if you know of David, but he's an amazing effects guy. And we were honored to have him, and we met with him. And at that time, we talked about kind of doing a wild man looking Bigfoot, not as much a gorilla, more of a wild man, like just that almost human look. And we left Jacob's eyes. Jacob Southwick, a 6'8" professional wrestler, played Bigfoot. And his physical abilities, I mean, the guy, well, he's a wrestler. And if you see him like on the stage, he's just a ripped, massive, strong guy. And he was instrumental in playing the creature and just never complained. He set up the entire fight at the end with Nick, Jack. He was just amazing. And I can't say enough about David Greathouse and his design.
And that fight was totally real. No stunts. He was
He's
throwing
not
me
kidding.
around. I was bruised up bad after that, but it was a great time, and it was really cool to be a part of such a well structured fight sequence.
Great.
Did he teach you any wrestling moves, how to fall properly, and all that good stuff to help?
Right before he would throw me down, he would tell me how to fall, and I think that saved a couple bruised ribs. But I definitely was feeling it the next day. I think I woke up, I was so sore, but it was a great fun.
Well, and we did like 6 takes. We decided to go with kind of a YouTube wild, crazy, like what the hell's going on look there, rather than a traditional like, okay, set up the camera, swing. Okay, set up the camera, get a punch, and we just went for that crazy, wild, chaotic, what the hell's going on here. So they were literally going at it, and we were just running around them with the gimbals and the cameras, and and just cut it
In
off.
live fire, I stuck my hand in a live fire.
Ouch.
We actually, one of the gaffers had to come in and pull my hand out, and we had to pause and make sure I was okay. It was intense. It was fun.
We didn't have to do too much makeup work on Jack. He was pretty black and blue from naturally.
Well, I'm glad y'all went the practical route with the Bigfoot, with the costume and the makeup instead. I hate CGI Bigfoots for a movie unless it's some like what's that, Kendall? What's the Asylum? I'm trying to think of the name of that company that makes those horrible
Oh yeah, the Asylum.
rip-off movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Bigfoot with Alice Cooper getting.
Yeah, they did a completely
Yeah.
CGI Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah, he adds male pattern baldness, and his size fluctuates throughout the film. Yeah.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it.
Boy.
You're not missing anything.
Oh, okay.
I really liked your poster. I don't know if you have more than one. The one I saw was more like a teaser. It shows the arm and you see the claws. In the distance, there's a tent. You see like Bigfoot from behind. It
Yes.
tells you everything you need to know about this movie.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Again, a good friend of mine who's a professional graphic designer and artist here in town called me and said, "You're doing a Bigfoot movie." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm doing the poster." And I'm like, "Bob," his name is Bob Kaganich, amazing artist. I said, "I can't afford you." He said, "Pay me this, and if you guys end up using it, then you can pay me that." And it was like to get his talent. And then so I just sent him graphics and some of the scenes from the movie, and boom, 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 he did it. So thanks. Yeah, he'll be glad to hear that. I do think the poster is great as well.
Mm.
And he actually stuck it into AI, and he's got a moving poster. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that came out pretty cool. If you keep an eye on the movie and keep an eye on the woods, you can probably find some Easter eggs in there if you look hard enough that we put in the movie. So, the next time you see it, just keep an eye on the woods, near the cabin, and take a look at what you can see.
All right. So let me ask you, Tom, what was the hardest part for you about making this film?
I think the hardest thing was shooting at night. And, we were doing this in blocks when Jack was available because he was busy in New York, and, lining up the 8 days or the 4 days to shoot, and just shooting 8 nights in a row. Night shooting can be really hard. And I remember our final shoot was 8 days. It was right around Halloween. And the very first night, we had all this night exterior stuff planned, and it rained. And we lost half a night. And so here I knew we had flown all these people in, Jacob, Jack, we're spending all this money putting people up, and we lost an entire half a night shooting, but we were able to make it up throughout the course of the 7 days later. But it's exhausting, as you know. I'm sure filmmaking is exhausting, and then add to that the night shoots. But I can tell you, everybody that you're talking to here and our entire crew, it was never them that gave up. It was me at the end of the night going, "Okay, we're done tonight." They were ready to go. They were ready to keep going. And I think I have a lot of energy. They were just all there right with us and right with me. So made it easier, but I think probably shooting at night.
Ask Jack, what was your hardest part as an actor in this film, besides the physical part of the fights?
I think, excuse me, I think some of the performance was difficult for me. There are 2 key scenes that I don't want to spoil too much, but they're very emotional scenes, and in very different ways. One is more cathartic scene for the character, and one is more anger based. And those two scenes, luckily I had great people to work off of, these other actresses, and I was given a lot of time to rehearse those moments. But I think those were really the most challenging for me. I think a lot of the fun came with the scenes with Squatch. I think a lot of that was more that was easier, especially since we had the 6'7", and then he has these boots on, so he's really almost 7 feet tall. The Sasquatch in front of me, so I could really react to that and really show the fear and the hatred and all these things that the character was feeling. I think really trying to get to those emotional things, that was the most difficult for me.
All right. Kendall, you had any
J-
questions?
Yeah, I've got a question for Jack. During the photo shoot sequence, did you request the Zoolander, or was that already in the script?
I was told to just goof around. So I did. I think in the script there were a couple things. It was like he does a Frankenstein pose. He does. I mean, I don't know if the Zoolander Blue Steel
Yeah,
was
the blue
in the
steel.
script, but I think it was definitely on my mind in that scene. I was thinking, well, I gotta throw that in there. I gotta throw this in there. And some of the things that I did didn't make it in. They were a little too goofy or a little too, uh, you know, silly. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that one made it. Yeah.
And I also want to mention, as far as we're going to be talking about our favorite scenes here in a minute, but I do want to bring up the moment when Nick's mother arrives at the cabin, and there's a brief second where she gives Cassie a look when she kind of crosses paths with her, and it's just I love that look that she gave Cassie. That was perfection right there. That's not my favorite scene, but I just want to bring that up. I really appreciated that scene. I like that.
That was actually Jerry's idea when he read the script. He said she should like look over, like, "Look,"
Yep.
and yeah, and Cassandra nailed it. That was one of the little things that Jerry added.
One of the only things that I
No, there's quite a bit of Jerry Land in there.
had.
What else you got, Kendall?
Uh, well, let's see. I've talked about the howls. I really enjoyed how, there's I don't want to give too much away, but running in front of a vehicle sequence. That's typical of a lot of Bigfoot sightings. People see one cross their path, and I like seeing that in the film. Um, was the Ape Canyon event from way back when any kind of inspiration for the cabin pelting, or was
No,
that just something y'all came up with on your own?
yeah, we came up with that on our own. Just the classic Bigfoot throwing rocks, rock sounds, tree sounds. So, yeah, no, it was something we came
Okay.
up with. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Patrick, do you have anything else to ask?
Well, you had mentioned favorite scenes. I don't know how much you want to get into that. We don't want to give any spoilers or
You're
anything.
right.
I don't mind you talking about it. I think that when people hopefully listen to this, it inspires them to watch the film. So, I mean, if you want to talk about specific scenes, that's fine. I mean, don't give away the ending, but yeah, sure, we can talk about favorite scenes. I have no problem with that.
All right, I might start with Jack. What was your favorite? Not necessarily to shoot, just as a viewer, watching the film. What was your favorite?
Let me think. There are a lot of great ones. I think probably my favorite viewing is when Nick and Cassie find something on the path to the
Yep.
house, and that scene it's a couple long takes. Really it's really great, kind of fear building for the audience, and I really enjoyed watching that in the theater. And you get a couple good scares, throughout that scene. That's my favorite scene.
All right. What about Lawrence? You have one?
I have three actually.
Uh-oh.
No, they're all very, very small stuff. I love the scene when Nick and Cassie are entering the diner. To me, the dynamic between the two of them and Cassie being pissed off at Nick and, we're going. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was some of the best acting in there. I like I kind of like the lawyer, the one lawyer getting hit with the giant rock. I thought that was pretty cool, and when he hit him in the forehead, and then just the rocks on the roof. I mean, I thought that whole scene. We spent hours filming that, and the way the guy that built that 4-foot cabin for us and put all the little itty bitty leaves all over the roof and stuff, and we must have thrown 100 rocks at that roof filming it, and like what, Tom, 240 frames per second or something? Is that what you filmed that in?
Yeah, 120 frames a second.
120. It just they look so cool. Just hitting the roof and rolling off. I just thought that was fun. That was fun to watch afterwards.
Yeah, so that was a miniature. All the rocks hitting a roof. That was a miniature cabin that the local FX guy David Hetmer built, and he's just amazing. And so he did build that. Then we lit it, and as Larry said, spent probably 4 or 5 hours shooting it from different angles with rocks hitting. And we had Fuller's Earth on it, so it would give an impact, and these miniature leaves that David made.
All right. What about Jerry? You have a favorite scene?
Mine was all dialogue. The scene on the bridge before and after they see the deer. But that whole scene, I just felt like Jack and Paige nailed it. I totally believed that was a, kind of a budding relationship. They were, there was a lot of flirting going on. I thought they nailed it. It's always been one of my favorite scenes.
All right. What about Andrew?
I think my favorite one is probably, I like the diner because, it's this old diner. I like the way that came out. And I was the cook in it for just a couple seconds, but
Order up.
Yeah, that's right. Order up. That's what I said. But I think my favorite one was the interacting with the deer that we had. We had this guy that we found that he had like a deer farm, and he let us come out to the farm and film with all the deer inside there, and that was really cool of him to let us do that. And I thought that looked really good. That's probably my favorite.
All right. And Tom, what about you?
I think I think the acting is great throughout. It was probably the first movie that I didn't have to cut around acting. The acting is wonderful throughout all three characters and all the sub characters as well. But my favorite scene, and I have to give a lot of credit to Jerry here, is the end. From the big battle at the end into the operatic ending with the mom and all of that. And Jerry found a piece of music. We hired our musician, James Stonehouse, composed a score. There's a little bit of the Ave Maria in there if you listen real closely. And I just enjoy that whole ending, and I think it works really well.
All right. Kendall, what about you?
For me, without giving too much away, for me, it was the buildup, the tension during the exchange sequence. I guess you'd call it an exchange or an offering sequence toward the end of the film.
Oh,
right
okay.
Before all hell breaks loose.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's great.
Because, and for me, if you've ever listened to us before, I love whenever you can see the actor's eyes in the creature's suit. And because to me, their eyes can say so much with the way they utilize them. And his eyes, Jacob, in that sequence, you kind of don't know where it's going to go for a second. I thought I knew where it was going to go. I'm not going to say what happens, but I thought I knew, and you could see it in his eyes. And there's a definite change in his eyes. And yeah, that's my favorite scene. That tension right there.
Thank you, Kendall. That makes my day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Patrick, how about you?
I want to say it's the scene where Cassie's inviting herself on the trip. She just had so much enthusiasm, and where she's talking about Maple Bluff and how are you kidding me? You know, she has to go to Maple Bluff and just all the Bigfoot stuff she's throwing out there, and it's kind of where Jack, where you see that where she's actually a Bigfoot fanatic. You know, it's like I thought that was a cool scene, but then everything with Bigfoot in it was really well done.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, that is a fun scene. And again, her energy and her just love of life. And she really, I say she's the heart of the movie. And just her energy and living in the moment. And that scene in particular, she's great. Are you kidding me?
All right, so Tom, let me ask you, what advice would you give to any like first time filmmaker wanting to set out and make their own Bigfoot movie? What's the number one piece of advice you would give? And don't say don't do it.
No, I would never say don't do it. I actually teach film direction at a film school, and I would never tell anybody to not do it. I would tell the one thing that I do tell people is don't just write a script and shoot it. You know, if you write a script and you give it to your best friend who's also a first-time filmmaker, and he reads it, or that she reads it, or they read it, and they say, "Oh, it's great, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it." I tell all of my students and anybody, first time, second time, get coverage on that script. And coverage is paying a reader, professional reader, that reads scripts every day, 100 or 150 bucks. It's the best 150 bucks you're going to spend, because you're going to get notes. And those notes will tell you what they liked about the script, what they didn't like about the script, and you can do whatever you want. But to get coverage on that script before you start, because you're going to spend the next 2 years of your life and at least thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars making the film, you want to go in with the best story you can go in with. So that's really my advice, is to really just make sure that script is solid and ready.
Sure, that's your blueprint for the whole film. You got to have a good solid script to start with.
Absolutely. And we did that twice, and we got really good notes, and we acted on some of them for sure.
All right. Well, do any of you guys have anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to mention about the movie?
No, just that, you know, we have a deal with Freestyle Digital Media. The film will be everywhere, or probably spring to summer of next year. Right now, we're showing it. We've shown it at a drive-in theater up north. Had a sneak peek there. They're going to show it again in a couple weekends with a double feature with another classic Michigan movie. We're going to be showing it on Devil's Night here in Michigan at a theater, and maybe a couple film festivals in the fall. But after that, look for it everywhere early next year, early to spring or summer of next year.
All right. Kendall, you have any final words?
Well, as you all know, we are a Bigfoot film review podcast.
Yes.
And as part of this, we ask all of our guests to review their film. And the way we review it here is we have a scale of 1 to 10 Bigfoot tracks, with 1 being the worst Bigfoot film ever made and 10 being the greatest, which in my opinion is The Legend of Boggy Creek. So you guys, you can choose who goes first. Give me a rating of your film. Be honest with us. There's no wrong answers. Just give us your opinion of your own film on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, who's going to start?
I'll go first.
Tom.
Oh, it's a 10, of course.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay. All right.
Well, I tend to agree with Jerry, but I would knock it back a little bit. Just budgetary things that if we had more money or more time, we may have done a little differently. But I think 8.5 to 9.
Okay.
I would give it a 10 if it weren't for that lead actor. I don't know where they found that guy.
That guy was terrible.
He was terrible. Oh my God.
That's fun.
It's a great movie. It's great fun. Got a lot of scares. It's got a lot of heart. I think that's something that that many Bigfoot films don't have, but ours definitely does have. So not to say ours is the best, but I would have to give it 10 if it weren't for that guy.
Yeah, I should mention real quick before the other guys review it that we had a cast and crew and friends screening in Ann Arbor, Michigan last November, and we ended up with over 1,100 people there, and the response was overwhelming. We had people, as I came off the stage at the end of the movie, people were rushing me, young people, and they were asking, when is the sequel? When is that? And I really, obviously, your premiere, your first screening is usually your best night and your best audience, but it was overwhelmingly positive, and it really made me feel good about what we did, especially since all the investors were there and they got to enjoy it and they got to feel that buzz and that energy as well. So hopefully that continues. We're seeing that every social media post seems to take on a life of its own as we go forward here. But anyway, back to Andy and Larry for their reviews.
Yeah, I think, of all the movies I've seen that are out there, I think ours are one of the better ones. I would say, probably like Tom, I'd say, 8.5, only because of budget reasons, But, when we showed the movie, everyone really loved Jack. All the women, they were all talking about him,
Autographs, young ladies coming up, sign my popcorn box, sign my shoulder.
They were big fans. Jack did a really good job. Everyone did a really good job. Considering, there's a lot of indie films out there, I think, ours is one of the best that I've seen. And, you've seen like, the Snowman, not the Snowman, is it like the Yeti movies or the Abominable Snowman movies, and Snow Beast was one of them. And, some of those are, in my opinion, pretty bad. Ours, I think, hits home as it covers a lot of bases. You have a nice love story there. You have a lot of good scares in the movie. There's, jump scares in it. There's, the folklore it covers really well. And I think, everyone really liked the characters. So I think, I have to give it a high rating, probably 8.5, 9. That'd be my pick. How about you, Larry?
I have to go right there with Tom, between 8 and 9. I haven't seen, as Andy can attest to, I haven't seen all that many movies. And a lot of the horror movies I've seen are a long time ago, and I haven't actually seen any Bigfoot movies except ours. But I think, like, I got to go along with a lot of what Andy just said. It hits all the points it needed to hit. The jump scares were fantastic. It had a storyline, and from everything I hear from anybody with all these other movies, especially Bigfoot movies and a lot of horror movies, they're just slashers. There's really not much of a plot or human portion to the movie. So yeah, 8 to 9, but probably a high 8.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, y'all nailed the acting. The cinematography was excellent. The creature looked awesome. The Rob Zombie. I saw Rob Zombie. I don't know if y'all were going that direction with him, but I see Rob Zombie there, and I love that about the creature.
Well, I
You
think
gonna say
that
something,
a lot
Tom?
of that is Jacob's look.
Just
And if
his
you
look,
saw
yeah.
Jacob without the makeup, he really just accentuated Jacob, and Jacob has these dreadlocks, and they were incorporated into the suit. And Jacob is very handsome, Rob Zombie-ish looking guy, and that's probably why you see that.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. That's perfectly fine. There's excellent drama, a little bit of romance, a little bit of comedy, and the comedy was injected when it was needed. It wasn't just thrown in for no reason whatsoever. At least in my opinion, it was. And I'm going to give you guys an 8 out of 10. 8 Bigfoot tracks out of 10.
Thank you.
Because you guys are way up there compared to, especially to a lot of the recent independent Bigfoot films that I've seen. Yeah, you guys are way over that. You guys did a great job.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
Jack, send him a check. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Kendall.
And I mean, y'all would have gotten 7 Bigfoot tracks just for the Scoutmaster alone. That's Oscar worthy.
Oh no, there's no living with Larry.
Not enough to live with. Why can't you do that?
Yeah, all the small props I did too. All the signage on the general store, the Maple Bluff sign. I read ahead the script when I knew about a shoot, and I made all that stuff. So the only thing I didn't make is like the giant. Well, I don't want to give it away, but any monster props I did not do. But all the small stuff I did.
You put the master. You put the master in Scoutmaster.
There you go. There you go.
All right, Patrick.
Yeah, I just want to say I loved everything about this movie. I think it's an excellent addition to Bigfoot cinema. I think everybody's going to love seeing it. The filmmaking was solid. The acting was solid. The story is very good. It's just a fun movie to watch. I thought it was a lot of Bigfoot action, and I highly recommend it to everybody to see it. Yeah, I have no problem giving it an 8.5 right off. I mean, it was great. I really enjoyed it. And like Kendall was saying, it's a lot better than a lot of the movies that's come out like this year and last year, independent Bigfoot movies. Yours is like a lot of, I mean, it's just way above those. You just did an excellent job with everything.
Well, thank you guys. You've warmed my heart. I mean, we're just starting to get out into the public with this thing, and to have you guys say that means a lot to me, and I'm sure everybody here. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely, we really enjoyed it.
So
Great.
Tom,
You guys liked it.
you have a website where people can go and see things about your production, or maybe order some like a T-shirt or a hat or anything, a poster?
Yeah, we're going to do a lot more of that.
Okay.
I even want to explore a graphic novel of the movie, but our website is squatchthemovie.com. I'm going to check that as we're on.
I was just going to say,
Yeah. Squatch.
Do you have any social media, any Facebook or an Instagram for the Squatch, a YouTube?
We do. And I believe you can link to that, or will be able to soon, from the website. We actually did a series of diaries as we put the movie together. And I think we're about to release another diary that Jerry's working on. We did a drive-in showing up north near Traverse City, Michigan, which is a huge tourist town. It was a phenomenal evening. It was a Wednesday evening. They showed the movie, first public showing. The place was packed. We had over 100 T-shirts. They sold in 10 minutes. If we would have had 400, they would have sold. So we are going to want to do a lot of merch. And right now we're just working with the distribution company to get through the quality control system for Netflix and all of that. So a lot of our energies are there, but very soon we're going to have a lot of merch.
Yeah, we had several hundred people show up. They were lined up before the drive-in movie theater opened. Everyone in town was talking about it because we drove up, to see how everything was going to turn out. And people in restaurants where came over, they were talking to us. And when we got there a little early, and there were people already lined up out to the road with their cars waiting
2
to get
hours
in.
before
Yeah, and that was a couple hours early, and that worked out really well. It worked out so well because they don't typically show indie movies, and what they did were they were new owners of the drive-in theater, and they said they wanted to give some indie films a chance. So what they did was they showed it on a Wednesday, which typically they're not even open. And they were, like I said, there was between 300 and 400 people there to see the movie. And, that concession stand was wrapped around it. And I was talking to one of the guys that had been working there for a very long time, and he said it's the longest line he's seen for that concession stand in a long time. So they liked it so much that they wanted to show it and do a weekend run of it. So coming up here in a couple of weeks, they're going to do a Friday and Saturday night double feature with another indie film, and they're going to do that. I believe it's September 19th and 20th, and they're going to do that. And then, as Tom had mentioned, and then also at an indoor theater on Devil's Night, October 30th. It's going to be at a local theater here in Plymouth. And then maybe some other theaters, because some of the other drive-ins, the Michigan Theater has mentioned wanting to show it for the Halloween season. So we'll see how that stuff picks up. But hopefully, we get it into a few more theaters for sneak peeks, and then sometime early next year we can, hopefully get it out, for streaming. We'll see how the release goes once, we're finished with, quality control and getting everything set up. But yeah, everything's working really well. Everyone seems to really like it. So we're really happy with the turnout.
And
Great.
I want to mention to you guys too, if you are part of a festival or you want to show the film, or you want, one or some of us to come down, I'd be willing to do that. I mean, we're really looking to start getting this thing out there, and these sneak peeks seem to really do a good job for us. So anything you're involved with, I hear about you guys going to different events all the time. So.
All right. Appreciate it. I want to thank you all again for being here, taking your time out on this Sunday night. So appreciate you. And what do y'all have coming up next? You going to make any other Bigfoot movies in the future?
Well, we actually are writing a sequel. Working with, I wanted the writer Bill Conger to be here tonight, but believe it or not, he's the funniest, most outspoken guy, but he's very shy. And he and I have been working on a sequel just to be ready. If this thing hits and everybody's energy wants to go in that direction, they want to wait another 6 months putting the script together. So we will have a sequel script ready. And so we'll see how it does. And maybe that's it.
All right. Well, great.
All
Well,
right,
thank you
great.
again for being here. Really appreciate it. And when your movie does come out on streaming, we'll promote it again on all of our channels and everything, and let people know about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're great. You're a great duo. I love your podcast. And like I said, I'm sharing it with everybody now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
y'all
guys.
for coming on.
Have a
Thank you
great
very
night.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Tom and the rest of our guests this evening. This was really a really excellent film. You guys, we highly recommend it. One of the better independent films that I've seen in general, one of the best independent films I've seen in a long time. Extremely well done. Yes, there were a couple of budgetary limitations, but you can look past that. This is I highly recommend this film, and we want to thank Tom and everyone else for coming in tonight and talking with us. I think this is one of our best episodes we've ever had. Patrick, how about you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this was excellent, man. And we also have to talk a little bit before we go. We need to mention the Monster Mingle that recently happened up in what's that little town in Arkansas called?
Is it folk? Fiddle? Folk?
No, folk is your favorite kind of music. I think you're thinking of Falk, Arkansas.
Yeah, there you go, Falk, Arkansas.
With the wonderful Jeff and Cindy Sheldon of the Boggy Creek Boutique, they helped us. They put on the Monster Mingle, and we hosted the Filmsquatch short film festival there while we were there. And we had a few technical difficulties early on, but after that, everything seemed to go off without a hitch. I had a fun time, Patrick. There was some great vendors there. We saw some excellent short films. We had some of the filmmakers there with us, and it was some fairly nice weather too, considering that it was late August in Arkansas, southern Arkansas. We had some great weather too. Did you have fun, Patrick?
I did, and I want to say, I think my favorite part of the whole event was Mr. H.L. Phillips talking about his experiences when he was the sheriff of the county, and he was called in for those actual Bigfoot sightings from the Fouke Monster. That was pretty interesting. He was a great guy.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
it was a great
and
event.
I want to
had a lot of fun.
thank Cindy and Jeff for the goodie bags that they gave you and me. I don't know if yours had some Boggy Creek habanero salsa in it.
Mine had
But
a
mine
$100
did.
bill, and
Oh wow! I still got the better end of the deal, man, because I love that salsa. That's my favorite salsa. And Jeff and Cindy took care of me. They gave me some salsa. We also got sweet T-shirts with with the combined Boggy Creek Boutique and Filmsquatch logos. And that was pretty sweet. I like that. They did an excellent job on those shirts. Did an excellent job on the festival.
oh yeah,
And can't wait until next year. Gonna have a lot of fun.
oh yeah.
All right. And so, Patrick, with that said, we'll have Jeff and Cindy on later, and on another episode, and we'll talk more about the Monster Mingle, and we'll probably review another Bigfoot movie with them if they're brave enough to do that with us another second time. But until then, if I'm up around Lake Michigan somewhere, and
Maple Bluff.
yeah, Maple Bluff, Michigan. If I'm up around Maple Bluff, Michigan, and I'm there with my girlfriend. Of course, I'm married, so this is just pretend, guys.
Uh-oh.
I'm up there with my girlfriend, and she's a core Bigfoot believer, and I'm a skeptic. But my papa left me some property, and I got to go and check it out. What should I do while I'm traveling down that long road to get to one of the most beautiful cabins I've ever seen?
Yeah, you need to make sure you're scanning the bushes and just watching them very closely for movement or for red eyes glowing in the distance, anything kind of following you. You just want to be careful and really watch your back. Bigfoot's out there.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Film Squatch. If you like the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and tell your friends about us. Make sure to like us on Facebook and join in on some of our interactive discussions. Remember, Bigfoot is out there. Watch your back.